May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord my God. I'm going to read my comments because I'm being filmed by my opponent, Mr. Rick Larson's people, and I want him to know exactly what I think. It is important to state and state plainly why we gather here tonight in a church, to discuss our views of faith and freedom, indeed of church and state. We believe that the greatness of America lies not in the federal government nor in the state government, but in the character of our people. The simple virtues of faith, hard work, marriage, family, personal responsibility, and helping the least among us. If we lose sight of these values, America will cease to be great. Never before has it been more critical for us to speak out for these values. That is why we must recommit ourselves to educating, equipping, and mobilizing people of faith and like-minded individuals to be effective citizens. The most effective citizen action is frequently found in people who unite together to speak out as one on the issues that concern them. Organizing for action is not new to the Christian community. After all, what is a church? We are called to stand firm and actively walk in the truth so that people can witness our faith and be changed by it. As we stand together, we will influence public policy and help enact legislation that strengthens families, protect the dignity of life and marriage, lower the tax burden on small businesses and families, and require government to tighten its belt and live within its means. So then, these are the principles, the issues that concern us as people of faith, and we will not be silenced. Respect for the sanctity and dignity of life from conception to natural death. Respect and defense of the family and marriage as the foundation of a free society. Pursuit of noble and righteous character and citizenship. Limited government, lower taxes, and fiscal responsibility to unleash the creative energy of entrepreneurs. Education reform that puts children first and empowers the family. Help the poor, the needy, and those who have been left behind. Free markets and free minds to create opportunity for all. Victory in the struggle with terrorism and tyranny while supporting our democratic allies, including Israel. Personal and civic responsibility through education to combat apathy and ignorance. To achieve and defend these positions, we then set before us reasonable goals of public discourse, behavior, and organization that we believe is the responsible course of action for peacefully speaking our minds and contributing our voice to the public and political conversation. Our goals: mobilize and train people of faith to be effective citizens. Speak out in the public arena on behalf of common sense values. Influence legislation and enact sound public policy at every level of government. Train citizens for effective civic action. Protest bigotry and discrimination against people of faith. Exercise our right to vote with intelligent involvement and to encourage others to vote. Defend the defenseless and weak in mercy and love. If you stand for these and other American principles and you are ready to take action to protect them, then please do not remain silent and isolate yourselves. Never think that you or your voice are insignificant or meaningless. You and your concerns matter. You have a God-given and constitutional right to express yourself. And remember, as Patrick Henry shouted, though I may not agree with everything you say, I will defend to the death your right to say it. You are a child of God, a God who loves you, who indeed has given you everything, including your life and especially his love. He has given us his word, the word of life, to instruct and guide us in all conduct. His Son instructed us that we cannot be silent or inconsequential, and in Matthew chapter 5, we find his specific instruction in this regard. Blessed are those, Jesus said, who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Righteousness is everything that is right. It is the standard of God in belief and action. The first and most important act of righteousness is becoming right with God. And God accomplished that for believers through his Son. But righteousness also stands for right against wrong in personal and cultural behavior, because the way of God is the way of love for the people he created. How intense is our desire for righteousness, for the goodness that God demands? Are we hungry to the point of starvation? Are we as thirsty as a desert traveler who is parched and desperate? Are we indeed passionate for godly righteousness? Jesus commented on this kind of passion. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And then Christ expanded his thoughts from the general those and got personal. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. But Jesus, let there be no doubt that this hunger and thirst for righteousness should change the world. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, its strength, its quality, how can its saltiness be restored? It is no good for anything any longer but to be thrown out and trodden underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do men light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your moral excellence and your praiseworthy, noble, and good deeds, and recognize and honor and praise and glorify your Father who is in heaven. This is the Master's call to be salt and light in society, to make a difference. Christ's illustration is profound because it demonstrates that Christians are to penetrate society while keeping ourselves from being penetrated. Jesus' challenge to us to be the light of the world is also powerful and unmistakably clear. Light penetrates darkness. Light conquers darkness. The absence of light is what defines darkness. We must not let the darkness define us. To know the truth and yet be afraid of standing for the truth is as nonsensical, our Lord says, as lighting a lamp and putting it under a basket. Light is meant to shine in the darkness, to show us all the way. We are a blessed people as Christians living in the United States. We have the same rights as any other citizen to advance and defend our ideas and influence the course of our laws and public policy. Because the need for Christian influence is so great in our era, the concept of light and salt must encompass this larger involvement. How dare 40% of evangelical Christians not vote in the last presidential election because of apathy, ignorance, or indifference? We must accept the biblical vision that as believers we must intentionally live out our faith in order to shape the culture for the sake of Christ. Christians throughout history have stepped out of their comfort zone and exposed themselves to dangers, ridicule, and even death, compelled by God's love to act. We are commanded to love the world and to even confound our critics by acting out our love and proving these critics wrong by embracing activism with the right attitude. The right attitude of God's love, his grace, his goodness, forgiveness, mercy, and compassion. Christ alone is the judge. We are the instruments of his peace and of his word of truth. James Dobson has observed, one of the greatest tragedies of our time has been the silence of many Christians, some of them in positions of national leadership, while our culture and country slides progressively into moral decay. This is not the legacy, the country I hope to pass on to my children or my children's children. My calling, my responsibility is clear, and it is more urgent than ever. I will use the God-given talents, gifts, abilities, and resources I have been blessed with to speak truth to power, love to hate, humility to pride, and justice to error. Like Wilberforce, Lincoln, King, Dobson, or even Daniel of old, I will embrace my calling in humble obedience and commitment to the one I serve. Please join me and pray with me that we will truly do God's will on earth as He gives us strength. Thank you.